Good morning. Happy Sunday. I am mostly just testing out a new microphone I got. This is for my Android. It's supposed to be noise canceling. There's a lot of ambient noise in here. I have a whole bunch of air pumps and a whole bunch of water pumps and a whole bunch of rushing water from filtration going on. So yeah, it's gonna be noisy, but hopefully this noise canceling microphone will do its thing. Just a little about me, in case you've never seen anything like this before. I might make a new channel and take this off my main channel and make a new fish keeping channel. But I've been keeping fish since the late 80s, like 88, 89. My sister joined the Navy and gave me her goldfish, and she created a monster. Before that, my parents had tanks when I was really little, but I ended up turning up the heater to make the fish warm and ended up killing them all. And that's really the story of my fish keeping experience. I buy a lot of fish and I kill a lot of fish, but sometimes they survive. I really do enjoy. My favorite kind of fish are the Bashirs, Polypterus. I call them bikers, so I understand the way they're supposed to be said. I understand it's supposed to be Bashir, but please understand that I will call them bikers because that's what I learned, and Bashir sounds silly to me. I also don't much care for the community fish. This is about as community as I like to get, although I do have in the house, I do have a tank with angelfish in it and some other tetras in it. Assorted community fish. But this is a, well, I guess this is technically about the same aggression level as that angel tank, so there you go. This is a 40 gallon. It's been set up and running for quite a while. Not in this particular configuration, but it's been set up for quite a while. It has an AquaClear 110. I do love AquaClears. I do not like other hang-on back filters. I have tried almost all of them. I haven't tried the Tidal. I can just tell you from the odd-shaped box and from the surface skimmer functionality that I would not like it. The biggest negative that I hear about the AquaClear is that if the power goes out, the AquaClear won't self-start. But I've had my power go out a lot, and I've had one instance. Where an AquaClear did not come back on, where it was running basically dry, and it still works. I'm still using that AquaClear to this day, but it's just not a big deal. The self priming thing doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I keep my aquariums full, which I don't know. That just seems like basic. I don't know why people wouldn't. I understand some people keep their water levels a little low, and that's fine. But that's not a problem for me. I keep my aquariums full. So I've got an AquaClear 110 on this, and I've got an F-Zone Asta something filter. It's a stainless steel filter. It holds quite a lot of media. I have both of those filters full of sponge. And those were running on here back when this was a bare bottom tank, and I had electric blue Jack Dempsey's in it. Now, my electric blue Jack Dempsey's weren't show quality by any stretch of the imagination, and I have some electric blue Acaras that have the same type of coloration, very similar coloration, but they are gorgeous, and the electric blue Jack Dempsey's were not gorgeous. I'm sure you can get show quality electric blue Jack Dempsey's. It would just completely outshine my Acaras. But these particular Jack Dempsey's, this batch of Jack Dempsey's that I got, were I bought the entire batch my local fish store got in, and none of them turned out very bright, or they all had minor deformities when they grew out. So they just weren't worth it. So I traded them back. Well, I guess technically I traded them back in. I returned them to a local fish store. And I got $30 in credit for them, which I haven't spent. And that's mostly because the local fish store that I traded them in at hasn't had anything that I really wanted to get since then. So when I redid this tank, I decided to do it planted. That that very large Amazon sword in the center was in a 20-gallon long. 20-gallon longs are really great footprint kind of tanks, and I tend to keep a lot of bottom fish like bikers and catfish and things like of that nature. So they work out well for me, except they don't work out very well for tall plants. I'm thinking about migrating most of my 20 longs into 29s, just so plants can actually have a shot of growing up. So that's why it's all kind of bent over. I've had this aquarium set up as a planted tank. I put the substrate in about 3 weeks ago. I put the plants in about 2.5 weeks ago, and I let the plants kind of get situated and rooted while I was quarantining the fish. The fish I chose for this aquarium are Turkana Jewel Cichlids, which I think are beautiful, and Congo Tetras, which are fun, active. They're great little. They're great for just zooming around the aquarium. They're active little feeders. They really make the Turkana Jewels much more at home as ditherfish. They really allow the Turkanas to feel safe in their new little home. The plants, I couldn't really identify a lot. There are a couple of tiger lotuses in there, small ones. You can see them over in the quartz. There are some Anubias, a few species of crypts, and there are actually 3 Amazon swords. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to leave those Amazon swords in there. I might pull 1 or 2 of them out as they get bigger. You'll see there's there's the large one in the middle, then off to the right there's a medium-sized one, and at the very left-hand side there's a small one. It was doing very poorly in the tank that I pulled it out of, and I figured I'd put it in here where there's a lot more light. Speaking of light, the aquarium lighting is done by a Fluval 3.0, which is my only Fluval 3.0. All of my other tanks now, except for 3, I think I have 3 or 4 tanks that are not running the Aquarium Co-op lights. I really like the Aquarium Co-op lights. I don't think that they're very yellowish. They seem to be, I don't know, I like the color on them. I'm not a huge, like, what is that, like really cool white light guy. I much prefer the warmer tones and daylight spectrum, and I really like the Aquarium Co-op lights. So I'm running Aquarium Co-op lights on just about all of my other tanks. Well, I guess the one in the house is running the Fluval 3.0 and 3 F-Zone can lights on it. So I think they're F-Zone, Asta can lights. Same company that makes the canister filter. I do run CO2 in this aquarium. Before I turned this into a planted tank, there was a huge, I think it's beard algae. You can see it on that piece of wood, and some on the Anubias. And you can see it on like the heater. So that was in there. That was in there prior to me turning this into a planted aquarium. I'm not really sure on how entirely to get rid of it. I've been dosing with hydrogen peroxide and Flourish Excel. I've gotten rid of hair algae, string algae, thread algae, whatever you want to call that, using that combination. And that combination is a milliliter of 3% per gallon of water. But I buy the 12%, so I do a milliliter per 4 gallons of water. Seems like a lot. It hasn't hurt them. I've accidentally overdosed and no effect on the fish, so it probably could be much higher. I'm not recommending you go higher, but I had a massive outbreak of string algae. I just kind of watched it grow to see how bad it would get in the tank in the house, and it got really bad. And it took about a month of dosing that to really knock it down and make it go away. So I do that, and then I follow the directions for the Flourish XL, and the combination of those two has made string algae go away. The wood was a lot more covered. I did pull out the wood prior to attaching that Anubias to it and dip it in a very high percentage hydrogen peroxide bath, and that knocked some of it down. But you can still see there's more that hasn't been knocked off. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. It hasn't gotten worse, it hasn't gotten better. As far as the stocking is concerned, I don't know that I plan on adding any algae eaters to the aquarium. I may add some Siamese algae eaters. May. None of the fish in here should get big enough to really hurt them. They seem pretty tough. So I might add a couple of those in there, and I'm probably going to add a couple Synodontis lucipinus, I believe is what I'm thinking about adding. They're a very small Synodontis catfish. They top out around 2 or 3 inches. So they'll work well with fish of this size. And they're a nice polka dotted cat. So should work well. As far as the substrate is concerned, it's a mixture of, oh Lord, there's an ADA, 20 pounds or so of the ADA. There is like 18 pounds of fluval biostrata, or something like that. And there is 20 pounds of, oh, why can't I remember the name of it? I'll put it down in the description. It's not an active substrate. It's little, I think it's basalt. I'll put the name of it down in the substrate. I don't want to sit here for the next 20 minutes trying to remember the name of it. So it's a mixture of active and the one that I can't remember. What it does is it actually will grab nutrients out of the water and store it so that plants that are root feeders will be able to take it from the soil. As far as what I use to feed it, I do use Aquarium Co-op Easy Green, and then I use, because the nitrates don't always go down very fast, I do use Seachem Flourish, and I use Seachem Potassium. And there is also in the soil, there is fluorite to give iron. So I used quite a bit of fluorite underneath the substrate. It was about the first thing I put down, and then I put the substrate over the top of it. So that's this aquarium. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, let me know. Oh, as far as CO2, I'm running about 2.5 bubbles per minute, maybe 3, in a 40-gallon aquarium, which isn't much. The drop checker that you see in the upper left corner of the aquarium, it gets like a bluish green. It doesn't really get all the way to green. I have run higher levels of CO2 before, but I figure that with all the fish in here, that if it's going to generate enough, they're going to generate enough CO2 that the plants should be able to have plenty to work with. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.